if Tyson dies, right?
Oh my God.
Yeah. See, if you have something like that, if you have, look, if
That'd
this,
be the end of the
right. It's just weird that we're even talking about
right.
it.
100%.
Guy from Disney is gonna Tyson, right? The YouTube kid.
Boxing is very lenient. Boxing is very pliable. Boxing adjusts, and you know, all of a sudden, we'll call it a professional fight, even though the rules are not consistent with professional rules.
Joe Rogan seems to be worried about Mike Tyson, as he believes that Jake Paul can seriously harm the legendary boxer. Moreover, Mike Tyson's former mentor remains skeptical about the upcoming match.
It's just been sanctioned as a professional fight. And here's the rules. The result will go on official records. Knockouts are allowed. That makes sense in a professional
that's
fight.
Nice of them.
Well, I mean, that usually is the case, right? I don't know. Anyway.
I mean, what were they going to do if you punched someone too hard and knocked them out?
It's not allowed.
Hey, that wasn't allowed.
Sam, I'm a little confused. I mean, does that confuse you a little bit too?
Teddy Atlas, who once coached Tyson during a short stint under Cus D'Amato, harbors doubts despite the official sanctioning by the Texas Boxing Commission. The age gap between Tyson, now 57, and his 27-year-old opponent, Paul, is significant. Moreover, the unconventional rules being implemented raise questions about the legitimacy of the bout in Atlas's eyes. In an unprecedented move, Tyson and Paul's upcoming bout is set to feature 8 rounds, each lasting just 2 minutes, a departure from the conventional 3-minute rounds. Adding to the intrigue, both contenders have opted for heavier 14-ounce gloves, deviating from the standard 10-ounce regulation gloves. In a statement released yesterday, Most Valuable Promotions co-founder Nakisa Badarian said, Tyson and Paul signed on to fight each other with the desire to do so in a sanctioned professional fight that would have a definitive outcome. Over the past 6 weeks, MVP has worked with its partners to satisfy the requirements of the TDLR to sanction Paul versus Tyson, and we are grateful that we have gotten to this point. These rule alterations have raised eyebrows in the professional boxing world, prompting renowned commentator Teddy Atlas to cast doubts on the bout's legitimacy in his recent YouTube commentary.
Not just me, right? Or Ken, right? We have company, right?
Disqualified, knocking out.
I just thought it was a good way to break the ice here with the show to start off. And the other rules are 8 2-minute rounds, not 3-minute rounds, 2-minute rounds, and 14-ounce gloves, not 10-ounce gloves. Normally pro fights are 10-ounce gloves, and no headgear, which is normal for, a pro fight. Here's my question. How do you call it a professional fight if the rules you're using are not professional rules?
Teddy Atlas may have his reservations, but there's no denying that this upcoming fight is poised to carve its own path in the annals of combat sports history. The showdown between Tyson and Paul promises to leave a lasting mark on their respective careers. However, Atlas questioned how it could be termed a professional fight if the rules being utilized were not professional rules. There's a prevailing concern that this match is merely a cash grab, exploiting the moment, and Tyson's participation could result in serious injury given his age and limited recent activity in the ring.
Maybe they're in the non-binary category, given that it's 8 2-minute rounds. I'm sure the women will be happy to see someone stepping down to the shorter rounds.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, Ken. All I know is I'm really not trying to be, to pick at anything. I'm just putting the news out there, and I'm breaking it down as is our way of doing things on this show. You're calling it a professional fight. We didn't know if it was going to be professional or not. They decided to sanction it as a professional fight in Texas. But it's not the professional rules of a professional fight. It's not 3-minute rounds. It's 2-minute rounds. It's not 10-ounce gloves. It's 14-ounce gloves. Yet it's being called professional rules. Look, they can do whatever they want in boxing, right? I mean, as long as money's there, the commission's going to make money. They're going to bring money into the state. Money's going to come into the coffers for everybody.
Jake Paul has gained notoriety for engaging in high-stakes boxing matches against past UFC champions during widely watched pay-per-view extravaganzas. His conquests include notable names such as Anderson Silva, Tyron Woodley, Nate Diaz, and Ben Askren. Throughout his journey, he has openly challenged numerous other fighters, followers, adding fuel to the fire of his formidable reputation. Amidst his tumultuous journey in the MMA realm, Michael Bisping emerged as one of his fiercest adversaries. The ex-middleweight world champion scarcely spares a moment for his antics in the lead-up to fights. With an unwavering conviction, the Brit maintains that victory for Paul in this clash is a distant dream. At best, he opines, Paul might secure a knockout against a seasoned legend, long removed from their prime. Bisping joked during an episode of his Believe You Me podcast, "If Jake Paul loses, listen, it's Mike Tyson. But still, come on. He's 58 years old, but stop it. If you lose, never show your face again. Then if Jake Paul knocks out a 58-year-old man, that's called elderly abuse. You can't win here anything other than a lot of money." Bisping remarked that it was only 2 minutes per round, emphasizing that those who hadn't boxed or fought might underestimate how long 2 minutes could feel. He expressed his opinion that even though Mike Tyson was 58 and the rounds were only 2 minutes long, he believed Tyson would still become tired after 3 rounds. Bisping added, "It's only 2 minutes per round, but if you've never boxed or fought, you underestimate how long 2 minutes is. Mike Tyson? Yeah, he's 58, and the rounds are only 2 minutes long. I think he's still going to get tired after 3 rounds." Bisping observed that Jake Paul left tremendously massive openings and highlighted that Paul had never faced anyone like Mike Tyson. He mentioned Paul's previous bout with Nate Diaz, noting that he went the distance with Diaz and emerged victorious. But Bisping clarified that he wasn't criticizing Paul, acknowledging him as a great and a cult icon. He said, "That said, Jake Paul leaves tremendously massive openings, and he's never fought anyone like Mike Tyson. He went the distance with Nate Diaz. He beat Nate Diaz, and I'm not on him because he's great, a cult icon." Boxing promoter Frank Warren has also vehemently criticized the approval of Paul versus Tyson as an official boxing match. Tyson wowed attendees at a recent gathering in Virginia with his chiseled six-pack and remarkable physique. Since the fight announcement, the ex-pro boxer has been sharing numerous training snippets as he gears up for his bout against the YouTube sensation. The 57-year-old veteran of the ring hasn't stepped into professional boxing since 2005. However, a notable exception was an exhibition bout against Roy Jones Jr. in 2020, which ended in a draw. Warren, renowned for his promotion of Tyson Fury, has recently shared his insights on the forthcoming clash in Texas. Speaking to TalkSport ahead of the fight, Warren said, "I'm a big fan of Jake Paul as a promoter and his business partner Nakisa Badarian. They're very smart operators, and they obviously see that this fight will generate public interest and money. The boxing community has stirred up criticism over the approval of the match, leaving Warren astonished by its sanctioned status." Warren pointed out that Mike Tyson shouldn't be engaging in fights, stating it as a straightforward matter. He expressed surprise at the fact that Texas had licensed a 58-year-old to fight, suggesting that such a decision might be more acceptable if it were an exhibition match. Warren added, "But let's get it right. Mike Tyson is 58 years of age and he shouldn't be fighting. It's as simple as that. If it was an exhibition, you'd get half away with that. But the fact that Texas has licensed the 58-year-old to fight." Warren emphasized that anyone with even a bit of common sense would recognize the absurdity of the situation. Drawing a vivid comparison, he likened it to being stuck in a traffic jam on a motorway, only to find out that everyone had stopped just to look at a crash. He implied that the fascination with Tyson's fight at his age was similarly pointless and unproductive. According to Warren, what does anybody need to say about that? Anyone with an ounce of brains knows that it is ridiculous. Let's get it right. You can be on a motorway stuck in a traffic jam, and you get to the end of it, and all it is people who have stopped to look at a crash. And that's what this is. Warren elaborated that initially, viewers might witness what he termed as vintage Mike Tyson, where Tyson would come out aggressively, throwing powerful punches. However, he predicted that after that initial burst, it would essentially be a 58-year-old man in the ring with a younger opponent. He added, "What will happen for one round is you're going to get vintage Mike Tyson. He'll come out throwing bombs for one round, and then it'll be a 58-year-old guy in the ring with a younger fella." Meanwhile, Paul confesses to feeling jittery about confronting Tyson in the ring after witnessing his remarkable training footage. As the fight approaches, the ex-pro boxer is evidently leaving nothing to chance. Iron Mike will mark his 58th birthday by the time he faces off against the problem child. Nevertheless, judging from his most recent workout video, you would assume the American is still in his prime due to his quickness, strength, and explosiveness. Paul admits the clips have made him a little nervous. During a conversation on the BS with Jake Paul podcast, the problem child's brother Logan Paul asked, "When you see Mike Tyson hitting those pads, do you get a little nervous?" He replied, "Yeah, it's motivating. I think it is good to carry fear into the ring and with you on a daily basis when you're training because it makes you better." Meanwhile, the outspoken American sports journalist and broadcaster, Stephen A. Smith, has joined the chorus against labeling this bout as purely professional. During a recent live television appearance, Smith didn't hold back, expressing his disapproval of the decision to sanction their bout as a professional fight. He said, "I'm saddened by it. I'm disgusted by it. I don't like it one bit. The great Mike Tyson, who we all treasure. When are you going to get in the ring with a modern-day reputable fighter who isn't 20-plus years removed from retirement?" In the midst of the broadcast, Smith didn't hold back in his critique of Jake Paul's purported commitment to boxing, especially with his decision to face off against Mike Tyson. Smith argued that if Paul truly meant business, he'd be squaring up against opponents more aligned with his age and level of dedication to the sport. Instead, he posits that Paul only consented to the bout for financial gain and lacks genuine aspirations for boxing development. However, Paul's defeat against Tommy Fury, a respected professional boxer, serves as evidence supporting the broadcaster's perspective on the problem child's boxing trajectory. Smith said, "Paul keeps telling us how serious he's taking this and how bad he wants it. If it's about you wanting to elevate your level, you gotta get in the ring with somebody of your ilk, your age, your size." Stephen A. Smith has always been unafraid to voice his thoughts, regardless of their reception, and he didn't hold back when it came to the Paul versus Tyson matchup. On the Twitter handle The Art of Dialogue, there's a post sharing a snippet from the Stephen A. Smith show. In the clip, the ESPN host talks about Tyson, expressing worries about him. He points out how age plays a significant role and how fans might be mistakenly expecting Tyson to be the same powerhouse he was in his prime.
Let's get to some, I can't believe I'm going to use these words. Pro fighting, as in boxing. Jake Paul versus Mike Tyson, okay? We'll start in the world of boxing, where the fight between this YouTuber, Jake Paul, and the former heavyweight champion of the world, Mike Tyson, will now be sanctioned as a professional fight. As a reminder, Tyson is 57 years old and Jake Paul is 26. That 31-year age gap will be the biggest in the history of professional boxing, which is exactly why it should not be sanctioned as a professional fight. If Mike Tyson, despite his age, had been fighting for years, okay, that would be different. But that is not the case. Mike Tyson has been retired for years. The only thing we've seen Mike Tyson in the last 20 years, we've seen an exhibition against Roy Jones Jr.
Smith stressed that the Mike Tyson in the present was not the same as the young, ferocious, and spectacular Tyson seen in videos. He expressed concern about Tyson's well-being, emphasizing that he sincerely hoped Tyson wouldn't get hurt in the fight. Smith clarified that this was solely his wish and concern.
I'm just saying, how can you sanction this as a pro fight? Now, a lot of people out there think, you know what, Mike Tyson is going to kill him. Mike Tyson, I mean, Jake Paul don't know what he's getting himself into. Yeah, that's possible. Jake Paul is a big boy. He's got power. That is true. But 57 years old is 57 years old. A 31-year age gap is a 31-year age gap. You haven't been fighting. That matters as well. And oh, by the way, conditioning is an issue too. Because Tyson is fine when Tyson is preying upon you.
On the other hand, Fabio Wardley has expressed that he has no interest in Jake Paul's fight with Mike Tyson. Wardley, the formidable heavyweight who recently engaged in an unforgettable showdown against Fraser Clark, conveyed to TalkSport that there's no necessity for the bout to materialize. Wardley characterized the Tyson versus Paul fight as a complete waste of time, emphasizing that it was nothing more than a joke. He acknowledged the commercial appeal of the fight due to the involvement of big names and the potential for financial gain, but he reiterated that, in his view, it was a pointless matchup and truly ridiculous. Wardley said, "It is an absolute waste of time. It really is a waste of time. It is a complete joke, I get it. They are big names, they sell, and they can make a load of money. It is a waste of space fight, it is honestly ridiculous." Wardley further commented that no one in their late 20s should be entering the ring with a 60-year-old, especially not in a professional fight. He emphasized that it didn't matter if it was Mike Tyson or anyone else. The idea of such a matchup didn't sit well with him. He expressed his disinterest in the fight, stating that it held no appeal for him whatsoever. Wardley added, "No one in their late 20s should be stepping in the ring with a 60-year-old in the slightest, let alone as a professional fight. I don't care if it is Mike Tyson. I don't care who it is or what they look like. So I am just not up for it, to be honest. It just does nothing for me." Surprisingly, considering his 2020 exhibition against Roy Jones Jr., Tyson himself advocated for the bout to be approved. He is obviously practicing hard for the bout, as seen by the frequent training videos he posts, which have drawn mixed reviews. Given that Tyson appears to be strong on the pads, some supporters have even pushed the two to call off the match. However, Paul has asserted that he will be the one to deliver the decisive blow, despite Iron Mike's insistence that he is entering the ring to deal his typical harm. He remarked, "My sights are set on becoming a world champion, and now I have a chance to prove myself against the greatest heavyweight champion of the world. He is the baddest man on the planet and the most dangerous boxer of all time. Time to put Iron Mike to sleep." Notably, concerns about Mike Tyson possibly passing away during his contentious fight with Jake Paul have been voiced by Joe Rogan. As mentioned before, the enormous age gap between the two fighters caused boxing fans to lose their minds as soon as the contest was announced. When Tyson and Paul share the ring, Tyson will be 31 years older than Paul. Before the fight was officially confirmed as a professional bout, Rogan voiced apprehensions about the possibility of the worst-case scenario materializing. During a recent episode of the Joe Rogan Experience podcast, he mentioned that the fight's approval wasn't guaranteed yet, as there could be protests leading to its disapproval. Please note that this podcast is a few weeks older, so we now know that the fight is now officially sanctioned. Now coming back to it, Tyson highlighted the potential consequences, noting that if Tyson were to suffer serious harm or even pass away during the fight, it would raise significant concerns.
So it's not necessarily carved in stone yet. They might not approve it.
Interesting.
If a lot of people protest, maybe they won't
Are they
approve it.
doing it in Texas?
Think
Is
if
that where
it's
it's going to be?
Tyson-
I mean, they were trying to do it at AT&T Stadium. Like,
Listen,
that's crazy.
If Tyson dies, right?
Oh my God.
Yeah. See, if you have something like that, if you have, look, if
That'd
this,
be the end of the.
right.
Yeah, that'd be the end of that
Crazy.
experiment.
While Rogan harbors genuine worries for Tyson's welfare, he's not dismissing the chance of Iron Mike reclaiming his former glory and delivering a knockout blow to Paul. The UFC commentator speculated that if Tyson could reclaim even 70% of his former physical capabilities, it would pose a significant challenge for Paul, particularly considering Tyson's retained power, which seemed undiminished based on his bag work.
Let's imagine it in a different way, right? Let's not imagine that Mike Tyson is fighting Jake Paul. Let's imagine Mike Tyson is fighting some young, like really powerful knockout
well,
artist who's
we
a
wouldn't-
contender.
Probably
Well,
wouldn't
guess
see
what? Jake Paul could be that guy if we didn't think of him as Jake Paul. If you look at the people he knocks dead, when he knocked dead Tyron Woodley with one punch, that dude
I was
can
there.
crack.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, so like that's what I'm saying, exactly what you're saying. We don't want to give him credit because it's Jake Paul.
Exactly. If he's physically capable of recapturing 70% of what he used to do, just dealing with that with probably 90% of the power. 70% of the physical ability and 90% of the power, because the power's not gone. You see it when he hits a bag.
Yeah, he's
You
still
see-
got the power.
The power's there, 100%. But he's had a bunch of back issues.
However, Rogan noted Tyson's past health issues, including severe sciatica that necessitated walking with a cane. Despite this, the commentator acknowledged the potential impact of treatments like stem cell therapy, suggesting Tyson was likely receiving top-notch care. Even at 57 years old, Rogan remarked, Tyson could still generate substantial earnings if he were fit and in shape, a notion that they found astonishing.
Yeah, he's still
see-
got the power.
The power's there, 100%. But he's had a bunch of back issues. He had real
Yeah,
bad
he was
sciatica.
having the problems walking and
He's
stuff.
walking
I saw
with a
him
cane.
Yeah.
So, but who knows what they've done? Stem cells. I'm sure he's with the right people. Like, even at 57, you can make a lot of money if Mike Tyson's fit and in shape, which is so crazy to say.
Timothy Bradley, a former world champion and current boxing pundit, believes Tyson will benefit from that change in fight rules. Bradley expressed his belief that Mike Tyson had the capability to knock out Paul in their upcoming fight. He emphasized that the shorter 2-minute rounds would favor Tyson, enabling him to unleash powerful body shots and capitalize on his remaining strength. Bradley emphasized that power was the last thing to diminish in a fighter and asserted that Tyson had the potential to end the fight swiftly with his formidable punching power. Bradley sawed, "Mike Tyson, knock his out, baby. It can happen. 2 minutes is going to favor Mike Tyson, banging him to the body, hitting him with power shots. He has the potential to knock this man out. The power is the last thing to leave you. 2 minutes, that's all it takes to knock Disney Boy the hell out." While Bradley seems unwaveringly certain that Tyson will win, Paulie Malignaggi, his co-host, was less certain. Malignaggi believes Tyson's age will play a major role, saying that he doesn't want to see the guy get hurt, and that Paul is more dangerous than everybody's giving him credit for. Meanwhile, it has been advised to Jake Paul that he will not be able to keep Mike Tyson from cutting the distance in their boxing match. In an exhibition fight that ended without a score 4 years ago, Tyson faced fellow star Roy Jones Jr. for 8 rounds. Jones has since shared his thoughts on the encounter. If they fight a real fight and Mike is in shape, it's going to be really problematic for Jake. If he's not in shape and Jake doesn't get caught with big shots early, then he will win, Jones told Shane Mosley. Jones analyzed the dynamics of the fight, stating that Jake Paul wouldn't engage in close combat with Mike Tyson and wouldn't be able to maintain distance because Tyson would swiftly close the gap between them. Drawing from his own experience, Jones admitted that he initially believed he could keep Tyson at a distance, but found it impossible, realizing that he was better at evading opponents than Jake. He speculated that Jake put on weight to compensate for his perceived disadvantage in staying away from Tyson. Jones said, "Jake is not going to fight in close, and Jake can't stay away from him because Mike is going to close the gap real quick. I thought I could stay away from him, and I couldn't stay away from him. I know that I'm better at staying away from people than Jake is. That's why Jake put the weight on." Jones further commented that Jake Paul was aware he wouldn't be able to effectively keep his distance from Mike Tyson in the fight. He suggested that Paul's strategy involved adding muscle mass, in the hopes that it would provide some physical advantage in pushing Tyson backward and keeping him at bay. Jones speculated that Tyson was increasing his own size to counter this tactic, intending to tie Paul up and immediately push him back when he closed the distance. He noted that Paul's fighting prowess was not as strong when moving backward compared to when moving forward. Jones added, "He knows he isn't going to be able to stay away from him. He is hoping that a bit of muscle will push him backwards and keep him off him. Mike is getting big enough to try and tie him up when he gets close and push him back right away. Jake doesn't fight as well as going backwards as he does coming forward." In his recent matches, Paul has tipped the scales at slightly under 200 pounds, while Iron Mike registered at 220 pounds in his clash with Jones. Paul is diligently packing on muscle during his training regimen, aiming to match Tyson's weight come fight night. During his preparation for the fight against Mike Tyson, Jake appeared to overlook the fact that he outweighed Deontay Wilder. Shane Mosley, Paul's coach, raised eyebrows by stating that the social media star currently weighs a remarkable 230 pounds. Mosley reported that he had seen Jake the previous day and noted that Jake weighed 230 pounds, emphasizing his size. He mentioned that Jake had commented on feeling as fast as he was at 185 pounds and highlighted Jake's youthful age. Mosley said, "I just saw Jake yesterday. He's 230 pounds. He's big, really big." He said that he feels as fast as he was at 185 pounds and he's still young. Paul's weight has varied from a trim 183 pounds, reflecting his shift from internet fame to boxing. However, following his recent triumphs, he's registered at a robust 200 pounds on the scale. Mosley said, "He looked like he was comfortable in the weight, so I know that Mike Tyson has to fight in close. He likes to bob and weave and get close." However, Jake Paul has responded to Mosley's comments. In a recent interview, he said, "Allegedly, in my opinion, that's a rumor. I feel like I'd be looking fat if I was 230 pounds." As the highly anticipated bout between Mike Tyson and Jake Paul draws near, opinions remain divided within the boxing community. Despite these reservations, Tyson and Paul's clash promises to be a significant moment in sports history, with both fighters gearing up for what could be a career-defining showdown. Make sure to check out some of our other videos on the screen if you enjoyed this one.